How did you get past security? His fortress is impenetrable.
Door was unlocked.
Son of a bitch!
Well, this might be the case if you live in America, where a lot of people are just constantly obsessing over trans people for really weird reasons. If you live in Germany, they'll probably not think of it much. And just kind of assume you're cis, which is also kind of trippy sometimes, you know, but hey, at least you don't get hate crimed. Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing some queer talk, because I feel like it's been too long, although it's probably only been a month, but that's definitely too long, somehow. But anyways, you know the deal. Before we continue, y'all gotta get hydrated. So grab some water, or some tea, or whatever else you like to drink, and then we'll continue. Are you hydrated? Good. Let's go. And born to deal with men. Because if you look what people perceive to be the stereotype of a lesbian, so like really butch or really masculine, then people will probably back off fairly quickly if you're like, yeah, no, I'm into women, because they're like, oh yeah, no, duh, I should have figured. If you look really femme and like you would literally shout slurs across the street at queer people, then you're gonna have to deal with men who hit on you, because no, there's no way, you're just saying that. So it's a struggle for sure. I wish you luck and hope you don't have to deal with too many ignorant people, but instead get to actually date women. You know, that's a far more pleasant use of your time, really.
How did you get past security? His fortress is impenetrable.
Door was unlocked.
Son of a bitch!
Damn it. God damn it. I literally kind of had this. Not exactly this, it's just that my sister, when I came out to her, or like a few months after I came out to her, was like, are you sure though? Like, you're way too good at listening to me. In a joking way. So, yeah, I feel like if this is how you get clocked, it's not really bad, because people are like, oh, I accept that you're a man. Like, of course you're a man. But still, something about you tells me very obviously that you weren't raised as one. But that's not really a bad thing. Like, it's not an insult or anything. It's just obvious, and I kind of wish it wasn't obvious, because why are men? You know, a lot of people who are raised as men, unfortunately, kind of suck, because they have this just like air of entitlement without even being aware of it, that they just constantly think they're smarter and know everything better, and then try to mansplain something to you, even though you literally studied the subject for years, or bullshit like that, you know? Yeah. Don't take it too hard that this is what clocks you as trans.
Trans people will literally say, hormones have made me feel happy and at home in my own body for the first time ever. And the conservatives will say, but aren't you worried that that's irreversible? You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, that's kind of the point, you know? Because guess what? People who transition medically don't just wake up one day and be like, oh yeah, no, I don't think I feel comfortable as a man anymore. I think I'd rather be a woman, and go to the doctor and get hormones. That's not really how this works. There are so many hoops to jump through, and so many like waiting periods that, yeah, trust me, they know, they've thought about this enough, they've researched this enough, they've had doctors tell this to them enough, that yeah, a lot of things are irreversible, and there will be a lot of changes. They know. You don't. You really don't, and you don't understand anything, because otherwise you wouldn't be asking weird questions like this. And there's kind of a difference between just asking questions out of curiosity and asking them because you are ignorant, but you're aware you're ignorant or you want to stay that way. There's a very clear difference if you're just doing it to be rude or if you're literally just curious because you don't know.
Coworker came up to me and she was like, "Oh, that new hire, I can't tell. I can't tell if that new hire's a guy or a girl, or if she's a, you know, because the hair is so short, but then the face, and I just don't want to get reported to HR." And I said, "Why would you get reported to HR?" And she said, "Well, because I'm not like that. I just don't want to get reported to HR for, you know, because I don't know if she's a guy or a girl." And I said, "Well, if you want to find out, usually the most polite way is to ask for their pronouns. You know, what pronouns do you use? And then they'll tell you if they're a guy or a girl or something else." And she said, "Oh, but isn't it weird that I couldn't tell if she was a guy or a girl?" And I said, "Some people like to be androgynous. I'm one of those people." And when I tell you that her demeanor just shifted entirely, she was like, oh, and that's fine. That's fine. That's your thing. That's none of my business. That's fine. That's fine. Uh-huh. And that was the end of the conversation. So for anybody in my coworker's shoes, you're not going to offend anybody by being genuinely curious and asking questions. There are ways to, like, if you don't know if it's appropriate or not, you can hedge that by saying, "You don't have to answer this if you don't want to," or "I don't know if this is appropriate to ask, but I'm curious." And they'll likely let you know if they don't want to answer. Things like gender, you just ask them. Just ask, "What are your pronouns?" And they'll let you know. And that's all you need to know. You don't need to know what physically they have going on underneath their clothes, because that's not relevant to your job, to your work. The only thing you need to know is the language which you refer to that person with. I'm not sure why there's this fear around queer people and speaking to them or asking questions. I can coach you on a few ways to phrase things that are going to be a little more polite and a little more inclusive. So here we go. Are you a boy or a girl? What are your pronouns? Do you still have your insert body part here? That is a very personal question. They may choose not to answer this, but if you know them very well, and if it's relevant, you could ask, "Have you decided to pursue medical transition? Are you gay? I can't tell if you're gay. Do you have a significant other in your life?" This invites them to speak more about their significant other, and if they're not comfortable opening up to you and coming out, then they don't have to. Remember, you're not entitled to any personal information about your coworker, but asking is okay.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It always depends on how you're asking, but as well as just a lot of things just aren't any of your business. Like, asking people about their private parts or how they have sex is usually, like, very uncomfortable, and honestly, it doesn't matter to your relationship to them most of the time at all, because it's always, like, the random ass people. Like, if you're on a date with someone, it might become important, you know, because then, well, if you want to pursue a sexual relationship with this person, you might want to know beforehand, because if you're, like, really averse to one set of genitalia or the other, then, yeah, it might become relevant. But if it's just, like, a coworker or, like, an acquaintance that you don't know well, that you're hanging out with for the first time, don't go around asking people about their sex life, because guess what? It'd be really uncomfortable if people came up to you and were like, "So, what do you like to do with your genitals? Like, how do you like having sex?" Some people really like talking about it and are really open to talking about it, but guess what? Most people will think that's kind of uncomfortable and none of your business. So that also goes for trans people, because it's literally, I don't get why people are so curious about specific trans people. You know, like, oh, I've never met a trans person, so I've got to ask this one trans person, because literally every trans person is different. Even if this one trans person is okay with answering these questions and tells you what they have done with their body or what they didn't choose to do with their body, that doesn't help your curiosity at all, because that just means this one trans person decided to take these steps and didn't decide to take these steps. It literally doesn't help you, and it's just frankly kind of weird. You know, so use your brain cells, figure out if you would personally like to be asked about certain things, And if you think that might be uncomfortable for you, maybe don't ask other people this. I can't tell if you literally wanna reserve the right to refuse queer people service, or if you wanna be like, hey, queer flag, we love queer people. If you're rude to queer people, if we catch you being homophobic or transphobic, we're gonna kick your ass out without serving you. I cannot tell. So maybe this is, if you're trying to say the second of, yeah, no, we really vibe with queer people, like, of course we accept them here, like, we're gonna serve you, we don't care about your sexuality, really, then maybe don't put the flag right next to the other sign. And if you were trying to say the first thing, then yeah, the flag placement is kind of fair. But now we're just wondering if you just didn't think it through, or if you're actually trying to be rude to queer people. Oh well.
Fucking go. Let's go. I guess.
Like, it's still weird that you think any guy who looks maybe a little more feminine than you think a guy should look, he's automatically gay. Or if he has any kind of demeanor that you deem too feminine for a man, you're automatically just gonna call him gay. It's weird. It's weird, but at least you gendered them correctly. So let's go, I guess.
As a bisexual dating a man, you know what is the biggest green flag? I tested him when we started dating, and I asked him, I was like, would you be okay if I hooked up with women still? There is only one right answer. He was like, immediately no. That was refreshing, because most other men that I've ever dated are like, yeah, for sure you can totally hook up with women, like no problem, like that'd be sick. He was like, no, that's cheating. And I said, yes, it is. And you know, to each their own. In an open relationship, totally different. But in a monogamous relationship, when a man is like, yeah, for sure, go ahead, I don't care, that tells me everything I need to know about their opinion of the validity of bisexuality.
I mean, that, and also it's just weird and fetishizing. It's like, well, it's not really real that women are attracted to other women. It's just something they do for fun, so it's not cheating, you know, and it's really hot if they do that, and that's why I'm okay with it. That's really weird. It's really weird, and honestly, I can get wanting to be safe and just like asking that question like upfront when you start dating someone, you know, and just be like, listen, what do you think about it? And they're just like, no. Bro, I'm not into open relationships, I want a monogamous relationship, so no, I would not be okay with that. Then yeah, that is kind of the right answer. You know, if they go like, well, I'm really into polyamory, like I would prefer an open relationship. Also fair answer. But if you both want a monogamous relationship to then be like, oh yeah, no, but sure, you can hook up with other women, it just seems like you don't grasp the concept of bisexuality, and it doesn't think you really accept it as a real thing, and that you don't think it's like a real attraction and it doesn't really matter, and that's why you're okay with it. Yeah, I'd be safe out there, I guess.
About a month ago, I came out to my best friend as trans, and I wasn't really worried that his reaction would be bad. It was just like not the reaction I was expecting. Let me explain. Look at this view, by the way. It's crazy. Absolutely epic. Anyways, like I said, I wasn't worried that he would like take it weird, but I was still nervous to say it just because I hadn't like come out to many people at that time. So like every time was like a milestone, you know? So we're hanging out, we're watching the basketball game, whatever, just doing normal friend stuff. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna just say it. And I was like, I don't know how to say this, I haven't done it a bunch, but like, I'm trans, whatever. If you have any questions, like, let me know. And he just looks at me in my eyes like, yeah, I figured. It's like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, out of all the reactions he could have said, the last thing I expected was like, yeah, I know that. Like, what do you mean? I was like, how could you possibly know? Like, I've only told like a couple of people. And he was like, dude, like every time we play Smash Bros, right? You either pick Zero Suit Samus or you pick Daisy. Bro, like no dude does that. I was just like, I mean, fair enough, I guess. Like, I didn't know that was giving away my whole spot like that, but like, I could see it, I guess.
This just seems funny to me. His friend legit went like, I didn't know how to bring it up. I don't know. I figured when you feel comfortable talking to me about it, you would, but man, that's kind of sus. Like, I've never met another guy who actually does that, so whenever you're ready to talk to me, I'm here for you, you know? And it's kind of one of the best reactions ever. Because someone be like, oh, I didn't know, but thank you for telling me, you know, like, what name and pronouns do you want me to use? Honestly, totally fine, but honestly, I kind of prefer the, yeah, no, actually, that makes a lot of sense reactions. I don't know why, I just kind of prefer them. Like, in that way, if someone goes, oh yeah, no, I know, then it's already kind of over the top, but if someone just goes like, yeah, no, actually, that tracks, that makes a lot of sense. Honestly, I don't know why, but it will probably always be my favorite reaction.
I was shooting a wedding once, and we decided to take a break from shooting these brides in their full floor-length white wedding gowns to go check into their hotel for the night and change into their second outfit to take a few more pictures. And they had like a pretty nice suite. Clearly it was an occasion, and they checked into the hotel in full white wedding gowns, hair and makeup done, me with my huge camera in hand. Like, I think it was pretty obvious what was going on here. It was a wedding, and it was their wedding, and the staff was like, oh my gosh, who got married? And they were like, both of us. And the staff was like, what? That's great. What a crazy coincidence. Like, no.
Oh my god, bestie goals getting married on the same day as your best friend. Oh my god, I wish I could have done that. Y'all, people are gay. And it's still so crazy to me. Like, if two men show any kind of affection towards each other, that is like automatically, no, y'all are gay, right? Y'all are hooking up. Like, there's something going on, right? There's no way you're straight. But as soon as it's two girls showing up in freaking wedding dresses at the same time to check in, and you don't even give them the time to be like, oh yeah, we're checking in to our wedding suit, you're just immediately like, oh my god, where are your husbands? Like, where are they? Are they coming later? And it's so wild to me that people fail to recognize that queer women exist somehow. At least if they're not, like, if you're a woman, you have to be like the absolute walking stereotype for people to be like, oh yeah, no, that's for sure a lesbian. Like, there's no way. Bisexual women, y'all have it even harder. Because if you're a femme bisexual, they're automatically just gonna think you're straight. Same with like femme lesbians. If you're really butch presenting, there's no way people will believe you're still attracted to men. Because they're like, no, but you look like a lesbian. You must be a lesbian. And it's so wild and it's so annoying. It's frustrating. And I'm not even, like, it's not even me. I'm frustrated for you. Because I know how weird people get. Like, just, you know, I mean, it's nice that you want to do something for people and be like, oh, hey, like, do you want to upgrade? Like, we can get you 2 separate beds. Like, at least talk to them about it. Because, yeah, maybe there are just, like, best friends traveling together. Maybe, but don't just automatically assume that is the case and they would rather have 2 separate beds. It seems presumptuous and weird.
Let's fucking go. Let's go. I guess.
In today's installment of I Can Always Tell When Someone is Trans, because you clocked him as trans and you'll be like, no, you're not a man, I say you're a woman. You have a beard, I don't care, you're a woman. Without even clocking his wife or girlfriend. It's funny to me. It's really funny to me. And chances are, if you see him as a random dude walking down the street, you would never clock him in the first place, because Unless you're one of those weird people who's like literally always out and about contesting, like absolutely obsessing over someone's hand size or how wide their shoulders are, which by the way will f you up so badly. Because there are so many cis people that don't have the traditional features you're looking for. So, you know, it's weird and it's just funny. But hey, at least you gendered his wife correctly. Let's go, I guess, do better, actually, but let's go. Good for her.
I wore this shirt in a video. Let's address some of the comments I got. 1. You're gay. Wearing this shirt makes me gay? Well, then I guess. This shirt makes me a member of AC/DC, because that's how shirts work, right? Great argument on your part. 2. Gay is a sin. Yeah, so is getting a tattoo, premarital sex, wearing mixed fabrics, eating shellfish, and a ton of other shit people do every day. So unless you're a cloistered monk, shut the fuck up. 3. That's backwards. Gay is the choice. No, it's not. No one is born believing in a god. You have to be groomed from a young age into believing any religion. There is something in you from birth, however, that's going to make you attracted to boys or girls. That's how biology works. When I was 4 or 5, I discovered that boobies made my peen all tingly. I had a healthy attraction to and fear of girls. I didn't know anything about sex or sexuality. I just knew I wanted to be near them. And not much has changed. Women are still sexy and scary. Anyway, kids know who they like. They don't know it's called gay or straight. They just know who they're attracted to. But gay is a choice, people. Tell me in the comments when you remember choosing. When you actively said, I could be attracted to the same gender as me, or I could be attracted to the opposite gender. I'm going to choose the opposite gender. And go.
He has a point. It's always giving the vibes of, I was attracted to both genders, I just chose not to be attracted to the same gender anymore. I chose to suppress it and chose to only be attracted to the opposite gender, which by the way doesn't actually work. You can't really suppress your attraction to certain people. You know, like if you're attracted to certain genders, you're gonna eventually be attracted to people of said gender. You can't actually suppress it. You can suppress how you think about it. You can like feel yourself be attracted and be like, oh no, but they're just really pretty. Like I just really like the way she dresses. I want to look as like he does. I want a muscular body like he has, for example. You can do that kind of thing. You can't actually change the fact that you're attracted to certain genders. But you can choose to ignore it away. You can't actually suppress it, but you can choose to ignore it away. And you can choose not to act on any kind of attraction ever. You can do that with any gender, sure, but that's not really you choosing to be a certain sexuality. That's not really how it works. You are still attracted to the genders you're attracted to, even if you choose not to admit to it and try to ignore it away. You know, that's the kind of vibes I'm always getting with people like, oh no, but you chose to be this way. Because no, they really didn't. They just decided to listen to themselves, you know? And yeah, religion is a choice. No one's coming for that choice. Like, if you find fulfillment in a religion, whatever religion that is, good for you. Like, if you really believe in your God, or if like it gets you through the day, if it makes you like feel comfortable or confident to believe in a God or to follow the rules of your religion, okay. But generally, I don't care what it is, but going around and assuming that everyone else has to do the exact same thing and has to believe the exact same thing and has to follow the rules that you follow is really weird, and I really still don't understand how people expect that kind of thing to work with this many people. Like, how do you expect everyone to like be the same and follow the same religion? That just seems weird.
It's really wild to me that people will be out here like the LGBT plus, or like they're just pushing it down our throats. They're forcing it on us. And it's just, gotta say, I was minding my own goddamn business today. I was doing my job. I was putting my stuff away. I was about to head home and clock out. And this little middle-aged woman waddles up to me, which I do not say disrespectfully. I am just describing the manner in which this woman moved. She comes and waddles up to me and says something kind of unintelligible. And I have an auditory processing disorder because I am autistic. So I was like, what was that, ma'am? And she just started talking to me, and I was like making small talk as I was putting my stuff away. And then she pauses. And I wasn't really thinking anything of this conversation. But she just goes, why do you have a mustache? And I just kind of looked at her for a second, and I was like, probably because I grew it. I mean, I have a mustache. She's like, are you a man or a woman? And I, being a dude, was like, I am a man. She looked kind of like befuddled about this. And I was like, cool, thank you for asking. And then she like muttered something, and I was like, what was that? And then she said, woman marrying woman. And I was like, a woman married a woman? And she like nodded. And I just said, good for them, congratulations. And she looked appalled, and she was like, you support, like, you're okay with that? And I'm like, yeah, it's not my business. Like, I don't know why you'd be upset about it. And she's like, I don't want to marry a woman. To which I replied, the great news is you don't have to. No one's gonna make you marry a woman. And she's like, I married a man. I'm like, so did I. And she looked more befuddled, and I was like, I am a man who married a man. I like men. And she looked at me like it's just, it wasn't connecting. And I was trying to be like, I need to clock out. I need to go home. I don't want to deal with this. And so I was like, well, I have to put this stuff away. Have a good day. And she's like, just kind of huffs and like waddles away. And I was minding my own business.
Yeah, at this point, the people who hate queer people bring up queer people way more often. Because they think a queer person saying, oh, like, yeah, me and my boyfriend, or me and my partner, or me and my wife did this thing the other weekend. Or like they ask you what you did last week, and they're like, oh yeah, I went hiking with my wife. And they lose their shit because you mention that you're queer. And then they rant about it for like 10 minutes and saying you're shoving it down everyone's throat, even though they literally just ask you and you were just like answering a question, you know? And you're just like, oh yeah, me and my partner did this. Or, you know, like, I'm planning to do this with my partner this weekend. But they get so hung up on it. And just constantly feel the need to police other people. And police how other people look. Like, why do you have a mustache? Well, probably because I like having a mustache, and that's why I grew it out, you know? Like, why do people have a beard? Because they thought it looked cool. Because they thought it made them look better. Who cares? Like, do you go up to every person and ask them why they have a beard? I really hope you don't, because it'd be kind of weird and kind of annoying, because why do you care about what other people do? But the thing is, you don't. You just care with the people that you think are too androgynous to clock properly as a man or a woman, that you don't think fit neatly into one of these categories. So you feel the need to police these people and be like, no, but why do you have that? Like, shouldn't you make an attempt to look more like a man or more like a woman? But if you married a man, you better be a woman. Y'all, let people live, for God's sake. Bro was just doing his job, minding his own business, wanting to go home. Like, he didn't even want to talk to you about the fact that he's a man married to a man. He just wanted to clock out or leave. But you talked to him and brought up queer topics, and then he answered a few questions or just gave a few comments, because that's what you do in a conversation. You were angry about it. Okay.
There's been a couple times when I've told people that my husband transitioned like during our relationship, and they're like, oh my god, like that proves love conquers all, like you're so brave for staying with him. And I'm just like, I just think he's hot.
This is probably kind of my favorite type of people who don't really get it though. Because they're the, oh, you're so brave, to the actual trans people. Like, oh my god, you're so brave for transitioning. I could never. Or like, oh my god, you're like love conquers all. It's kind of weird. But it's still somehow surprisingly wholesome for the fact that you don't really understand anything about trans people. And I'm not actually saying that to be mean. I'm just saying, like, as a trans person, it seems weird when someone tells you that, oh my god, you're so brave. And I've literally had people say this to me. Like, oh, I admire you so much, that's so brave. Like, bro, I wasn't being brave. I had a choice. Sure, I could choose to continue being miserable and wanting to off myself every 2 minutes because everything's uncomfortable and feels wrong. Kind of an over-exaggerating, but generally kind of true. Or I could choose to do something about it and listen to what's going on inside me and kind of figure out what's going on and choose to change a few things to make myself feel more comfortable, you know? And generally, like, for every trans person, that's gonna be different. Because at first I was like, oh no, I'm just gonna, like, cut my hair short and, like, go shopping and get, like, more mask clothes. Like, that was it at first. And at first, I felt really amazing. But eventually, it kind of, like, it got way better. And then it just, like, slowly fell off again. So I got a binder. And, like, same thing. It went up. Super more comfortable. But then it just, like, slowly started dropping again. Because wearing a binder, especially in summer, especially if you have sensory issues, it's kind of a shit show, you know? But anyways, the point where people kind of stop making these changes where they, like, it kind of stays up here where they're just, like, comfortable and doing okay, it varies from person to person. But generally, being like, oh no, but that's so brave. Like, what? Because people are hateful? Yeah, sure. Like, that's literally, like, the dysphoria is not the worst part of being trans in the kind of world we live in. Because people are shitty. You know? So anyway, I feel like I could probably rant about this for like 10 more minutes. But I'm not going to, because I need to drink my coffee before it gets warm. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed these TikToks, I hope you enjoyed my rants about these TikToks, and I'll be back in a few days with my next video.